So apparently there were gamers that were staying logged in and then, you know, going to do whatever. I guess go to work, go to sleep. And now they're going to release a patch that's like more than likely a time limit. Like if you're AFK longer than this, you're probably going to get booted because they got a queue to fulfill and you're standing in the way. And if you're not playing the game, then you don't need to be online currently at this time. And I can ultimately agree to that one. Bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox. Fans await thrilling co-op action. So I get the idea of this whole concept of wanting to create exclusives to bring people in to purchase the consoles. I would also then say that it's also a good idea for those kind of companies, kind of like Microsoft, who's apparently got this idea, we'll see how far and how well they do it, to take some of their games that may or may not have been exclusive and release them a year or so afterwards. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think that would be beneficial not only to gamers as a whole, but to them because they've done everything they can by making it exclusive. Now let's open that game up on other systems to other players. Basically, I guess we could call it a live service game. I know that's probably going to piss people off, co-op, multiplayer, whatever. But at the end of the day, it seems like it would be more beneficial if it was kind of open to everyone. Like, this is the kind of game that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to make it exclusive because objectively there's no single player campaign. It's actually suggested and even recommended that you play with people online, otherwise you're going to die a lot by yourself, and that there's even some missions and or quests or enemies that you can't play unless you are not going solo. So this is a game that I think in that stance is kind of redonkulous that they made it exclusive. But at the same time, I'm also going to iterate that, you know, these petitions don't really ever actually do anything. I mean, I've heard a few stories of one or two, but at the end of the day, the vast majority of them, we could say 99.99% of them, don't work. Now, I would ultimately sit here and say that, you know, because of the type of game it is, because it's not really a single player game, it was kind of dumb on PlayStation's part to make it exclusive. That this is a game that doesn't even have single player campaign. So it actually, to me, from a business perspective, makes more sense to, because I look at this is not, no matter what people were to sell, let's say this was exclusive on the PlayStation 5. I didn't have it, well, technically it is. And like, it wasn't even available on PC. It was just PlayStation 5. Would not go out of my way to buy a PlayStation 5 if I did not have one, regardless of how great the reviews are for the game. Same with what it currently is basically PC and PlayStation 5. I would not go out of my way to buy a PlayStation 5 just so I could play this game. Especially when you have it available on Steam. Because that would technically be the cheaper option, especially if you don't have a PlayStation 5. Because then you have to buy a PlayStation 5 and then you'd have to buy the game. Any business person should be able to look at that logic right there and see that that's not going to benefit them. That people are then going to go to the other one, which is cheaper, Steam. And then, of course, yeah, I guess you could make the argument, well, what if they don't have a computer? But then obviously they're going to probably go with the PlayStation 5. But I would dare say they probably wouldn't. Because why? Like, there was at least 2 games I wanted that made me want to get a 360. It wasn't one game, it was at least 2 games. So there's that one. But anyway, that's just, you know, one gamer's thoughts, ideas, and opinions. What do you think about this whole situation, everything we talked about? You can leave your comments down below. Remember, gamers, if you're not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the bullshit in gaming, microtransactions, loot boxes, active DRM for single-player games, etc., 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 and, of course, DRM that breaks games. That's always a fun, entertaining thing on the PC realm. You just might be a part of the motherfucking problem.